Hello, everyone. Welcome to COM 3760 Enterprise System Integration, Week 9. This week, we talk about Enterprise Application Integration, we call it EAI. So for this week's topic, we have a few of topics here. So we will first talk about what is the Enterprise Application Integration. After that, we will talk about typical topologies for EAI, EAI integration layers, workflow system, workflow characteristics, workflow management system, workflow elements for the workflow routing, workflow language. We will follow the structure here. So as you can see here, the application integration imperative, this is it's a business reality today, corporate island of automation. We can see here there are many different systems related to different function, okay, of the business. You can see the purchasing system, sales tracking system, financial system, eventually manufacturing systems, human resources, and it is corresponding to a different functions. Like for example, data flow to user. For the first one is the purchasing, and the second one is the sales. Third one is the financial. Fourth one is the manufacturing. Fifth one is the human resources. So what is the enterprise application integration? We first need to know what is EAI. Okay, EAI is a key enabling technologies that emerging to helping organizations achieve intra-enterprise integration. It is a strategy that does not specify products, tools, or technology for its inception. It's an ongoing process, utilizing new technologies within the IT infrastructure to allow applications to mirror the ideal workflow of the business. The goal of EAI is to encapsulate the enterprise in a single virtual application of heterogeneous and autonomous parts working together in a cohesive system. Okay, means we need to combine like different functions and different parts and integrate them together into one system. Okay, EAI provides the infrastructure to reuse, rapidly connect, interface, and unify information between an organization's inter-applications into a cohesive corporate framework within the enterprise. So the previous example that we made for the Amazon is different here, okay? Because for the Amazon platform, it will connect to for example, the shipment company and the billing company and connect to different sales here, okay, outside vendors, okay? But here, the EAI function is inside, okay, inside the enterprise. And it's internal applications. For example, our e-student system, okay, it's an enterprise application integration. It's a very good example. In the EAI system, you have different things, different functions that you can use. And for example, you can submit your form, okay? And for example, you can check your transcript. But all of them are within the same enterprise, within Macquarie University, okay? That's the example here. And EAI presents both the products as well as the process of integrating new and legacy applications, including packaged applications with data fields and databases. EAI is primarily about integrating customer and packaged applications to drive operational efficiency within the operation, within the corporation. And EAI is no intrusive, okay? Intrusive. The applications are being integrated do not change, or the changes are slightly and insignificant. Normally, they will just like connect the API together. No big changes here. Okay, so this is a comparison between the e-business versus the EAI system. Like I said, the Amazon online platform is the e-business. Okay. However, the e-student system is the EAI. And here we talk about the typical topologies for EAI. Okay. It's a point-to-point topology here. As we can see, CRM, ERP, logistic, sales automation, they are all connected to the different, like for example, e-commerce web server, accounting, and order management part. So applications are linked through hand-coded, custom-built connectively systems, and data interchange directly between any two systems. As we can see here, for example, the ERP system is connected to the accounting system. Okay. And point to point. The approach is to build an interface for each connection. The point-to-point approach is not scalable. Okay, not scalable, hard to manage, and inherently static and expensive. Okay. Here, the other one is the publish or subscribe technology use subject or topic names as the loosely coupled link between publisher and the subscriber system. Means we can use a network or shared bus here and use different adapter to connect all different components into one. Okay, and the publishers produce messages on a particular subject or topic names, topic name, and subscribers receive those managed by registering interest in the subject name. Okay, you can just subscribe the function that you want to use. Okay, and the modern published subscribe EAI messaging tools are based on the mutual cast model, where messages are published by being sent once are received by all subscribers. Okay, and we can also use hop and spoke. Okay, manage message-oriented middleware. Okay, middleware, and the integration broker. But all of them, they will connect by an adapter here. Okay, a central node message all interactions between applications. Each application does not have to integrate multiple times with several other applications. It simply carries out one integration process on the central node. The central node handle communication with each other communications. The most popular hub and spoke AI solution is integration brokering. And typical product suit the AI segment include a message broker, various development tool for specifying the transformation and the routing rules, tools for building adapters into applications, off-the-shelf adapters, monitoring, administration, and security facilities, and message-oriented middleware, business process management facilities, and portal services. Here we can see the EAI integration layers. So in your assignment 3, when you explain the technologies for the task 4, okay, when you explain technologies into at various aspects, it means you need to use those technologies with different layers in your EAI system. Okay. So we have business process integration layer, API integration layer, data integration layer, transport integration layer. And data integration is the ability to exchange relevant business data from the applications available and integrate it with other such related data items despite differences in data formats, structures, and intended meaning of business terms under possible diverse company standards. And the other one is data integration deal with moving data between multiple databases and solve the problem of sharing data across multiple applications created by implementing numerous proprietary back-end systems. It is not simply the differences in data format or interfaces that matters, but the length of common confidence of the business concept that underlines the different sources to be integrated. Need to create an environment in which there is a controlled sharing of business data by resolving differences in data formats and structures, as well as reconciling the semantic differences. So we have, for example, we can have the, like for the integration layer, okay? We have a common API and we combine different applications with the same API. The application programming interface integration layers concentrates on the sharing of business logic between applications. It differs from data integration level as the interface is created with the application rather than its underlying database. Okay, which means the API integration layer is the surface layer. Okay, it is different from the data integration level. Okay, there's no data involved here. And data-driven process and process-driven integration. The data view, okay, traditional approach is to integrate the disparate applications and business processes by mapping data to a standard format, then routing it from one application to other. Okay, failure to provide unified view of data, unable to handle conceptual mismatches, difficulties to scaling the enterprise level, process integration is treated as a feature of a data management. The process view is that clarifies which data and services are needed for pre-existing data and their underlying applications. It creates a new supervisory application that diverse the entire process integration by using services or existing systems and application as required. The business integration layer aim is to automate the business process which needs to access data and the business logic across disparate backend applications. And the process-oriented workflow are used to automate processes with well-defined and stable structure built on EAI to ensure business processes are executed in the defined order using the required data. And builds on middleware providing process execution engine, visual process definition tools, process monitoring tools. And business process integration is the ability to define a common acceptable business process model that specifies the sequence, hierarchical events, execution logic, information movements between different systems. Okay. But in the same enterprise, okay, or in multiple interconnected enterprise. Okay. So the business process management has modeling part, integration part, analysis and monitoring part, measurement part, optimization part. So here we can see the structure, the different aspect. The first one, you can see the business analytic process designer will design the graphical specification level, and the business process flow level. We can see the order received and allocate inventory and ship product and bill customer. In the information flow, we can see that the sales entry the order to the web server and receive the order and order management, billing, and it is interact with the distribution partner, and later the voice will be sent back and the product will be shipped by delivery. And all of the information will come back to the web server. An integration broker built primarily on MOM provides an end-to-end integration platform to completely automate business processes across the extended enterprise. And it provides wide-ranging pre-built application adapters and bi-directional connectivity to multiple applications. Data translation and transformation mechanisms, unsynchronized processing behavior, support of send and receive message status information, message transformation through self-describing data. Okay. Simultaneous of building of multiple middleware products use a uniform interface to provide seamless access to each application based on its own syntactical and semantic requirements. So it's built on different syntactical and semantical requirements. Ability to allow transaction recovery in a consistent format means, for example, we buy something, we want to get our refund, okay, and the refund should go back to the exactly same way where we pay for it. So this is the ability to do that. And intelligent routers message based on message content. Okay. We have adapter in the network. An adapter is a component that resides between the message broker and source or target systems. Simplify complexity of end system interface through a abstraction layer. Thin adapt simple wrappers. Thick adapters it is programmable and abstract representation of service and metadata. Centralized adapter co-located with broker. Distributed adapters execute in own process and may be located with source or target systems. Okay, here is another example. Integration broker technology for business process integration. We can see here the sales, product data, order management, billing, inventory management, all of them can pass into the integration broker, and after that, integration application. Application server process level integration. Application server level servers typically provide web connectivity for extending existing solutions and bring transaction processing mechanisms to the web. An application server is a simple connection of services that support development, runtime execution, and management of business logic for web-enabled apps. It provides programming language support and in an integrated development environment. Does not deal with heterogeneity information. Sources can be switched without affecting the application too much, and the clients can be changed at will. Application servers were created for web-based transactions and application development because of their ability to provide component-based integration to back-end application that make them useful or support the framework or for integrating business processes. Here is the same. We have the ERP application, distributed data. We use it with the adapter, and after that, the component wrapper, and in the end, application development tools. And the next one is the workflow system. The workflow system automates a business process in whole or in a part. Okay, in whole or in part, during which documents information of tasks are passed from the participant to another for action, according to a set of rules. Okay, and workflow normally comprises a number of logical steps. DeepSeek can depict various aspects of business process, including automate and manual activities, decision points, and business rules, parallel and sequential work routers, and how to manage exceptions to the workflow system definition is that the workflow normally comprises a number of logical steps and activities. An activity may involve manual integration with a user or workflow participant, or might be executed using diverse resources, such as application programs or databases. A work item or data set is created and is processed and changed in stages at a number of processing or decision points to meet specific business goal. Workflow technology enables developers to describe full intra or inter-organizational business processes with dependencies, sequencing, selection, iteration. It enables the developers to describe the complex rule for processing in a business process, allow people to be deployed more productive within an organization. So here is the organization. We can see different application here, and here is the individual activity, and here is the database. So we can use first the person before he put all the data in the application in. This is the other one. After user interface, local desktop applications has been installed for them. The workflow characteristics, each workflow management system can be viewed at the highest levels, providing support from the three functional areas. Build time function, okay, define the modeling and analyze workflow processes and the related activities. Runtime process control functions, managing the sequencing and execution of workflow processes. Real-time interactions, supporting interaction with human users, applications and tools for processing activity steps in workflow processes. So here we can see the example. record of all manual automated enterprise processes, mapping, okay, business process analysis, modeling and definition tools, build time and runtime combined together for the process. Okay. After that is process definition and process installation, control, and the workflow enactment service. Real-time interaction with users and application tools. You can see this in the end. And for the workflow management system, a system that defines, creates, and manages the execution of workflow through the use of software, running on one or more workflow engines, which is able to interpret the process definition, interact with workflow participants, and where required, invoke the use of IT tools and applications. Functions here are different, like define, stored, interpret, process definitions, runtime processes, control functions, create and manage workflow instances as they are executed, control their interaction with workflow participants and applications. Provide administrative and supervisory functions, plus edit and management information on the system overall or relating to individual process instance. A set of one or more linked procedures or activities which collectively realize a business objective or policy goal, normally within the context of an organizational structure, defined functional roles and relations. Here is the example. You can have a look. And the process may be wholly contained with a single organizational unit or many span several different organizations. So here is the basic relationship between basic terminologies. So for the business process, we define a, for example, if you look at the right part, like this part, controls automated aspect of the business process. And the second one is process instance. Okay. It also includes one or more. And activity instance is work terms, tasks allocated to your workflow participant, but we don't need to do it today, okay? Invoke applications. So what is enterprise application integration? Actually, it combines many things here. The next one is the workflow elements. What kind of activity, control flow, process instance, activity instance, participants, work item, work list, work handle. From the very beginning, we have the activity, a description of a piece of work that forms one logic step within a process. Typically, the smallest unit of work which is scheduled by a workflow engine during process enhancement, enactment, using transition and post conditions. Although one activity may result in several work items being assigned. The activity instance, the representation of an activity with a process instance, is one activity instance cannot be associated with more than one process instance. Each positive or negative, no, sorry, each process or activities instance represents a separated thread of execution of the process or activity, which may be controlled independently and will have its own internal state and external service identity. Externally visible identity. The workflow participants have different people here. A resource which platform is the book represented by a workflow activity instance. And the term workflow participant is normally applied to human resources, but it could conceptually include machine-based resources, such as an intelligent agent. Within the process definition of workflow, participants may be identified directly is identified by references to a role which can then be filled by one or more of her resources. We take a 2 minutes break. Okay, we go back to the work item. The representation of the work to be processed by a workflow participant in the text of an activity with single process instance. Generated from activity undertaken by a workflow participant, which within this activity and presented to the workflow participant via work list. A list of items associated with a given workflow participant, or in some cases with a group of workflow participants who may share a common work list. The work list forms part of the interface between a workflow engine and the work list handler. So the work list handler means a software component that manages the interaction between the user and the work list maintained by a workflow engine. It enables work items to be passed from the workflow management system to users and the notifications of completion or other work status conditions to be passed between the user and the workflow management system. Either vendor supplied as a component of the WMS or developed as the standalone custom application. Main functions here is the selecting a work item, reassigning a work item, notifying completion of a work item, invocation of a tool or client application as part of the work item process. And the workflow routing, sequential routing, a segment of a process instance under enhancement by a workflow management system in which several activities are executed in sequence under a single thread of execution. An example here, a purchase order is processed in 3 consecutive activities. And split, a point within the workflow where a single thread of controls splits into 2 or more threads which are executed in parallel within the workflow, allowing multiple activities to be executed. Okay. And split separate threads of control within the process. Instances are created. Those threads will be processed, proceed autonomously and independently until reaching an end joint condition. For example, here, for the T1 hotel booking and the car rental, okay, we want to integrate everything together. We first here we can split the T1 into T2, T3, T4, okay, into different we can say components here of and joint. So this is the end split. Okay, we split a point within the workflow where a single thread of control split into 2 or more threads. Okay, this is 1. We split T1 into 2, T2, T3, T4. And joint, okay, synchronized joint. A point in the workflow where 2 or more parallel execution activities converge into a single common thread of control. Each parallel executing thread is held until the set of all thread transitions to the next activity is completed. We call it the synchronization. Okay? At which point the threads converge and the next activity is initiated. Okay, and end joint may be modeled as a precondition of the joining activity. For example, here from T1, T2, T3, we have different workflow, and we put end joint, and after that we have the T4. For example, the issuing tax invoice here, we will have the customer information and the trading date and the amount of the money. And after we have processed every information here, we meet a join right here and join here. Then we have this T4. Also a split, a point within the workflow where a single thread of control makes a decision upon which branch to take when encountered with multiple alternative workflow branches, or split is conditional and the single specific transactions to next activity is selected according to the outcome of the transition conditions. Okay, so this is all split. So we can split T1 into T2, T3, and T4, but we can just use one of them. Okay, just use one of them. Or joint, a synchronized joint. Okay, a point within the workflow where two or more alternative activities workflow branches reconverge to a single common activity as necessary within the workflow. As no parallel activity execution has occurred at the joint point, no synchronization is required. A thread of control may arrive at a specific activity via any of several alternative preceding activities. So here is the asynchronized joint. Okay, so they don't need to meet at one joint. Okay, at one point, they can directly integrate into the workflow. Like, for example, the information retrieval. We can retrieve any information from different databases, and as long as we get information, we can retrieve it. Okay, so this is an example of all joint or asynchronized joint. Iteration. So iteration is a workflow activity cycle involving the repetitive execution of one or more workflow activities until a condition is met. Okay, here we can use the form validation here. Okay, for example, from T1 to T2, we have the form. Okay, and then we have to validate. If it's valid, we can pass to the T3. If it's not valid, we need to run the loop again to validate the form or validate any information. We call it iteration. And the workflow language, so generic language with a small number of constructs, sufficient expressiveness for a wide variety of process requirements, simplistically provides rigorous analysis and verifiability, okay, supported by a process modeling and verification tool. So we can see from here, okay, from the beginning, we have the payment request. We have the choice from the Australian dollar, US dollar, approved from the financial director. We have the choice, approve or reject. If it's reject, inform the employee about rejection and merge and fail payment request in the end and to the end. So here, if we choose, like for example, from beginning, we choose another, for example, we choose pay by Australian dollar and perhaps prepare the check for the ANZ Bank, okay, and merge the request together and into different fork, update the account databases, or get signatures from financial directors. Then we have a synchronizer here, and we issue the check, and merge with another processes here and file payment request and to the end. So this is the workflow language that we use to describe how to request, okay, a payment and to get the check from the bank. So what kind of so we use the notations to describe the workflow here, okay? And that's pretty much for the EAI system, the enterprise application integration, okay, for today. And for your assignment 3, if you want to check what kind of EAI system we have or we need for your assignment 3, task 1, you can refer to the slide or you can Google a typical, for example, just search, okay, a typical EAI system. Okay, then you will find an example. According to the example, you can modify the example based on our scenario, the studying abroad application. Okay, so that's how to conduct your assignment 2 part 1, the task 1. Okay, find a EAI system and modify it. All right. Think the EAI system content is less, and we can stop here for the EAI system, the enterprise application integration. If we go back from the very beginning of the slide, you can see that, so the difference that we introduced about the EAI and the e-business, okay, is quite different. So here we can see, okay. So in the week 8, we talk about enterprise system integration, which we use for the e-business integration. Okay. However, the EAI we call enterprise application integration, we use it within the enterprise or within the interconnected enterprises. Okay. Again, for the e-business, we will use it for the Amazon platform, which connect the different partners. Okay. However, the EAI system, the typical one is the e-student. It is within the Macquarie University. However, it has many functions which can facilitate student. Okay. So that's the difference between the e-business and the EAI, and you need to notice that. Okay. And for more information about the assignment 3, you can listen to the other recording that I have put in the week 9 practical session. That's the typical, that's the recording for the assignment 3. Okay. We can quit the day. Thank you.